Are you looking for a better and more immersive way to capture your underwater adventures with your Osmo Action cameras? Well, look no further than this awesome item here from Telesin. It's the Telesin Dome Port. And this item promises better looking and more natural looking footage when you are under the water. But at $80 Australian, is it really worth it? Well, in this video, we are going to put it to the test. This video is brought to you by the good people at Telesin. Telesin have been making great products for action camera enthusiasts since 2013, and I've featured many of them in the videos on this channel over the last few years. I've always found them easy to use, very well made, and long lasting. And if you click on the link at the bottom of the screen right now, I'll also include it in the description, and you include my code AdventureTim10 when you go through the checkout on the Telesin website, you will save 10% off your next purchase. How awesome is that? This lens is actually usable down to 30 meters, which is great. It's got 70 mils of framing. The disc is 6 inches, by the way. It's like a hemisphere kind of disc. And it's really great for capturing shots which are like over and under the water at the same time, but without capturing the kind of distortion that you would get with a normal lens from the Osmo Action 5 Pro. If we open it up, we'll see what we have inside. Alright, so the first thing we've got here is this dome port here, which is what we're going to put our DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro into shortly. We have also got this handy like floating hand grip, like you might have seen in other Telesin products here as well. Now, it also comes with this very handy cleaning cloth here as well. Okay, and we do have these two little boxes as well with some more goodies inside of them, so we're going to open them up as well. This is called the trigger, so we're going to use that to attach to the dome shortly. And this is a trigger. We're going to use it to attach to the dome, and we're going to show you how to do that shortly. There was also like another little white box inside. And inside the packaging, we find this little small spanner that's going to come in very handy shortly. We also find a thumb screw, and we also find this little wrist strap that we can attach to our wrist, and of course attach to the dome as well, so we don't lose it while we're swimming. This one here is the curved extension mount. Okay, so you also get this item here, which is called the anti-fog insert. We're going to show you how to apply that shortly. And not last but definitely not least is this awesome little Telesin drawstring bag. That's quite nice, isn't it? Quite bright and quite blue. So you can use that to cover your dome so it doesn't get scratched, which is a great idea. And yeah, I like that one from Telesin. All right, so let's show you how you can put your DJI Osmo Action cameras into this port here from Telesin. I'm using the Osmo Action 5 Pro, by the way. So if you look at the back of the unit here, now all you want to do is lift up this little latch here, and then we're going to pull it back, and then that's going to open the door here, as you can see, right? So once that's done, grab your DJI Osmo Action camera. I'm just going to slide it in. It's just going to slot in nice and easily, and then we're just going to shut it up by just shutting that door and then putting that latch over it and pulling it back with that click. So that means it's all in there nice and tight. You can see here on the front how it's all like nicely lined up there as well. So if you look here on top of the camera, you'll see there's your shutter button, and here is like your mode button as well. Okay, so it's all very easy to get access to. Okay, so there's a couple of different landscape modes that we are going to show you which you can use, and let's check out the first one now. All right, so for all these landscape modes, you're going to need this little floating stick from Telesin, which is a great little unit. It does come with this thumb screw as well, and all you need to do is just slide the thumb screw into this little slot here, of course after lining up the floating hand grip. Now the floating hand grip does have anti-slip material on it too, which makes it nice and comfy. So line her up and screw her in. Okay, so as easy as that, you put the thumb screw in there and you tighten it up. A really cool thing about this floating grip, as well as the fact that it floats, is that you can actually unscrew the bottom piece like this. And if you want to put something inside of here, like say maybe a key or maybe like some money, I don't know what you'd buy underwater, but there's an option as well, okay? So you can actually slot it in there, and then you can lock this here in watertight. So that's a really cool option. So this is very easy to use. You're under the water, you're holding onto this floating hand grip, and it's a great way to capture footage. So right now, this is what's called landscape mode number 2. Now, if you have a look at this setup right now, we still have the floating stick attached here, but this time we've used this trigger attachment that actually comes with the kit. And the way how we've got it set up, we have this part of the trigger mount set right on top of the shutter. Okay, so when you're recording underwater, for example, if you've got it set up this way, you can actually pull back on this lever, and that will press down, and that will, like, say, take a photo or start recording a video, which is what it's doing right now. If you want to stop it, just pull on that lever again, and that's going to stop your video. There you go, we just heard that. So you have to make sure your things are all nicely tied in. I find this a little bit of a trickier way of setting it up. It probably is pretty cool, pretty handy. Say if you're wearing gloves underwater, this might be a really good option for you. I'll just show you here on the side as well so you can see where everything's all set up. So you got one of these thumb screws. There are 2 that comes with the kit. One of the thumb screws is actually screwed in to this very different looking kind of mount thing at the bottom, and you put your thumb screw in, and that sits right at the bottom of where the camera is set. It was located there before, or the camera case is located. Then you've got this weird looking kind of bendy design here, this horseshoe design, and here's the little thing that you pull down on to fire the trigger. Now, as I said, this one's a little bit trickier. I don't know if you're going to be using this a lot. If you're just have a casual user, it does look kind of cool, and there is that option there of using this lever to turn the trigger on. But I find it a little bit harder to see what's on the rear screen of the camera, and I prefer to see what I'm filming. So this mode might work for some people, but for me, it's not my favorite. Okay, there is one more mode that we're going to show you right now, and it's the selfie mode. All right, so if you're underwater and you're not really that concerned about the fishies, you're just concerned about you can actually put this dome mount into what's called selfie mode. So in the kit, there's this little extension. You can have a look here. We'll just see this little extension here. So what you do is you attach that in between the floating stick and the little mounting point beneath the camera there. So what happens is when you're swimming along, you can hold the dome port out like this, and you can wave at the camera and you can film yourself. So that's option number 3, the selfie mode with a Telesin dome port. Okay, so without any further ado, let's go for a dip here in the beach here at the Grange in Adelaide, and we're going to show you the fine qualities of this mount from Telesin. Shine coming off my bald head. Grange beach here in Adelaide. As you can see, the background looks smashing. All right, so that's how it looks when you use the Telesin dome port to get those awesome immersive pieces of footage when you're in the water. Now I'm going to compare it to what you would get if you just use the lens from the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro in the water. So as you can see, although it does take great footage, you do get that distortion, and the distortion is all to do with the refraction of light, which when the light comes from under the water and then goes out to the air, which has a different density. That's when you see refraction normally, and that's what the dome port is designed to avoid or minimize. But yeah, okay. Well, that was a fun little swim on a hot day. Time to head back to the beach. Now, one thing to remember is that after you finish using your dome port in the water, you want to make sure you rinse it with fresh water. There's all these awesome little stainless steel little screws around here, but it's really, really important that you still keep this nice and clean and keep the salt water out. And make sure that you wash your DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro after it's been in the water as well. All right, so we thought we'd try a different location with the Telesin dome port. So I've come here to beautiful Port Noarlunga here, just south of Adelaide.
As you can see behind me, there's this super long jetty. Now, at the end of that jetty is a natural reef with heaps of fishies swimming around. So we're going to give the dome port a crack with them, see what sort of great footage we can capture. Today we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to use one of these items here. It actually comes with the kit. It's an anti-fog insert. And we're just going to put that inside the waterproof casing, like so. So just can go here on the side. That's quite okay. Now the reason we use that is if you say filming in a humid or a very cold location, you can sometimes get fog build up on your lens and you don't want that. So, you can just use that little item, the anti-fog insert, to prevent that from happening. Okay, it's a beautiful day out there. Let's get under the water and see what we can capture using the Telesin dome port.
The Port Noarlunga jetty is approximately 300 meters long, with the reef, which is 100 meters long, is just beyond the end of the pier. Even though it was a smashing day, it's fair to say the water was a little bit angry, but I jumped in anyway. I soon realized that with the strength of the ocean, I wasn't getting anywhere near that reef. In the meantime, I was able to capture some great footage with the Telesin dome port above and beneath the water, while I struggled to keep my head above that very water. Time for take two. This time, I concentrated on the pylons directly beneath the jetty. I was really impressed with how the Telesin dome port performed when filming underwater. Even when I was filming some selfie shots, I thought it actually come up really, really well. But I wasn't quite as impressed when I took the dome out of the water. It seemed to have like a lot of droplets on the edge of the dome, which wasn't so great. I would really like it if in future versions, Telesin put a hydrophobic cover on the dome port. I really feel that this would be super beneficial because such a cover would actually repel water and would make for a much better shot, especially when you're filming those shots where you're half out of the water and half in the water. As good as this product is, there are a few downsides. For one, it's kind of bulky. It's more gear you've got to take when you head down to the beach or when you go on your underwater adventures. And it also, it comes in at around about $80 too, so there's that extra cost. But if you look at the footage, if you look at that amazing field of view, and if you look at how immersive everything looks by using this little mount, I think it's definitely worth the price of purchase. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments section down below. To learn more about action cameras like the Osmo Action 5 Pro and the things that you can do with them, you want to click on this video over here now. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.